Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another weird reaction, I suppose, straight from the nostalgia vault that is Black Gold and my executive producers. This is Hot Wheels Highway 35 World Race Road Beast theme. A lot of words there to remember, but this is the theme for that. Apparently is something that was a game and a show. I think I may remember like a movie about this. I think he said it was a movie. I vaguely remember like trailers about Hot Wheels related like shows and stuff on TV when I was a kid. So maybe it's from the same thing, but either way, I've never heard anything from it. I wasn't into Hot Wheels like that, so I don't really know what to expect out of this musically or anything. And I guess without further ado, let's go. Kind of makes me wonder what genre this is going to end up being. It's going to be like more rocky. It's going to be more like 90s EDM. Oh. Somewhere between, apparently. That's funky. It's got like a jungle rhythm going on. Oh! Look at that. Yeah, this is like that perfect in between. Late 90s, early 2000s. It's not Euro Club, but it's not rock either. Some weird hybrid of the two. A lot of games, especially, were doing this exact sound around that time. That was a weird sample. There's more like the club energy. And the bass was like somewhere between a distorted rock bass and like an acid club synth. So interesting. Why this genre ever existed is so of the times. Doesn't mean it's not a banger, though. Yeah, I'm just kind of chilling with this. It reminds me of a lot of games I did play. More like arcade-style stuff, for sure. Like Cruisin' World, for example. Ooh, a little slowdown. It's always a good day when I get to hear and talk about this era for me, because it is so nostalgic. I mean, I'm 30 years old. I was well within the age range for this exact property when it was around. I just happened to not be as much of a Hot Wheels kid. I was for a short time. But I think there was two different, like, communities, I guess, of Hot Wheels people. I played with the toys exclusively and didn't really partake in the media so much. So I missed, like, all of this. I think I might have played Is that a didgeridoo in there? Hell yeah. I think I might have played like Micro Racers or something when I was younger. I'd know it if I saw it, but I didn't like play this. Oh yeah, Highway 35 World Race. Yep, there it is. Yeah, I never played that. All right, there's plenty of love to be had with this song. I mean, like I said, I'm from this era. I have a huge affinity for this sort of sound. All of these textures, all of these experimental approaches to, especially how they handled just video game music and random shows for kids and shit, blending these genres together to create something new that was identifiable to that era. I've talked about that a few times before, and I absolutely adore it. I love how they decided to take like that acid synth, something that was super prominent at the time, especially in the club scene, and then pulling that along into a more like punk adjacent rock sound and just fusing those together like acid punk, I suppose, if you wanted to make it a genre, is kind of what this is. It lands somewhere in between, and it's created some of the most iconic themes from that era, and as such, I'll always love it as a musician because there's just so much fun to be had with that and the creativity that led to that, even if it was purely out of necessity, because that's very likely the case. This sort of approach to music was probably done just because they needed a sound that sounded both fresh but also familiar, something that ended up being timeless by accident, and this song has plenty of the accents as to why, like all of the approaches to the synths, how they handled them, and just straight up the simplicity of some of the guitar parts, the overall structure of it. I'll be getting into some of that here, of course, but it's just like there's something so refreshing about it, yet at the same time, you know what era it was made in. It's so easy to pinpoint. It's like synthwave, for example. It's, you know, it came from the 80s, but there's something that's just strangely timeless about it. But to start out with the music theory side of stuff, the nerdy stuff, this is going to touch on some stuff that I did actually see in the comments of that upload, talking about that like one guitar riff. I'll be touching on why that sounded that way, but let's start with the like bass, like the synth bass that was in there and why it did what it did and the relationship in there. Basically, they love using minor thirds. And both of these were in here. You might not recognize them sitting alone like that, but this F and this A flat here, you might recognize that if you're paying attention to the song's bass line at all, but they also utilize the half step up from this F to the G flat. So this was super popular back then, just going between those two, the one that's a half step up and then the one that's a minor third above, basically just the minor second and minor third relationship. A great way to create this tension on the bass line and keep that going. There was something driving about it, and a lot of that was the synth choice use. The acid synth has a drive to it by design, but basically going on that the whole time is like a classic in this genre. And the same thing up here. They didn't really use this one as much, but they did use it. It's basically just doing the same thing up on C. They didn't really use the half step as much, just the minor third relationship there, but either way it was there, and it's something that again is just timeless and especially from this era. Now for that guitar part in there that I was talking about, and apparently other people love too, the comment I saw specifically, I'll put it up on screen if I find it again, but it was like there's no reason that this had to go so hard. And the funniest part to me as a musician and knowing the theory behind this, it's really not. It's just going up on triads of various chords within the key. This is actually something I am going to be guesstimating because it is very hard to tell exactly what notes are being played in there for me. I'm not a professional music theory major or anything. I just use my ear and my knowledge of what I've got. So my best guess is that this is following kind of a standard step down. It's not really doing anything too fancy. It's just using existing chords and just kind of working down from there. So that first one right there, the F minor, the root of this whole key to my belief, but it basically starts with it going, always jumps back up on that triad there, and then it moves down to, and I think that this is an interesting one because that would be an E diminished, and it sounds kind of right. That's one of those things where it doesn't really fit, in my opinion, in the key, but at the same time, kinda, and it definitely sounds like what they're doing. There's a lot of like wiggle room with guitar stuff, especially when they're doing stuff like that, half stepping down, kind of taking a little bit of a blue note outside of the actual key of the song is just there for flavor most of the time, and is very common for guitars, so I would not be shocked there. And I think it goes, That'd be an E flat right there. You might know that from Hotel California. And then I think the last one is, which is a C minor. I thought it might have been a C, just standard, but I'm pretty sure it's a minor in there. It's very hard to tell. For a second there, I was actually messing around with it and thought that it was this progression, which is a super popular one, which would be F minor, E flat, C minor, D flat. Super popular. You've probably heard that progression somewhere in music history, especially in this era of music. There was a lot of that progression because it was super easy to work with for EDM and work with all the synths and everything. It was just very friendly and it had a good uplift to it. So a lot of big trance and house bangers had that exact progression in there. So for a second, I thought that that's what that was. But after working it out for probably the better part of almost an hour, I was sitting here for a while trying to figure that out. Like I said, it can be kind of hard to hear some of those notes in there. But after playing around with it for the better part of an hour, I'm pretty certain it's that really weird progression of, which it just doesn't sound good as a progression. It's not something that you would normally hear. Again, while I was kind of gravitating to the other one because it is so popular and it does have that uplift. But again, with how guitars do and using those half steps in there, I'm pretty certain that's at least within the ballpark. And not all that impressive, all things considered. They're all existing chords. It's just an interesting application for them. But once again, guitarists just kind of do shit sometimes. And it can be fun, but it's also hell when you're a music theory person trying to figure out what the hell is going on. But also, given that I have spent the last hour trying to figure that stuff out as well as recording the rest of this video, I was going to talk more about how much I enjoyed this era of music and the things that they do, even just including the sounds of like the animals in here, just to make a little bit more of an atmosphere. I love that, but I've wasted a lot of time just working on that, and I'm not even sure if I'm fully in the ballpark of that, but hopefully you like this video despite all that. And if you have another song you want me to get to, by all means, drop in the comments below and I will do my best as always, but I am out of time for this one. So thank you all so very much for watching. Thank you to Black Gold for putting this into the queue and giving me a little bit of that nostalgia juice again. It's been a while and I always love to have it, so thank you for that. And if you have something you want to guarantee out of me, much like Black Gold did, you can always go to my Patreon or my YouTube membership so you can force me to listen to something. Doesn't matter what it's from, who it's by, if it's good or bad, none of that matters. That's why it's a guarantee. But if you don't want to do any of that, maybe just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that. And I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!